Hey, everybody. Hi. Hey, I'm Chris, and we're live streaming right now here live. Although, if you're watching the video afterwards, we're not live anymore, but we were. And it was fun. And I don't know if that's actually going to wind up being true, but it's Jim McCormick, so how could it not be fun? Hi, Jim.
Yeah, I love living between that space of live and I don't know. I'm just a digital maven. This is where I belong. So
Most of what I do is recorded, so when it's live, you just get that extra little burst of adrenaline. We're here today to preview week 2 in the NFL. We're going to talk about it from a football perspective. We're going to go through every game. Some we'll spend a little more time on than others. We'll also probably wind up making a pick for most of the games against the spread. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, happy to do that for you as well. We're sponsored by DraftKings. Once again, we're going to be sponsored. These live streams all year will be sponsored by DraftKings. Tell you more about them a little bit as we get going. And Jim, I mean, football is important, but friendships are for life, man. Sometimes, unless you hate your friends. But Dave Piper, he's producing the show, and you know what? It's his birthday, don't you?
I do. And for his birthday, I'm just gonna make sure that I pivot decisions. I'm just gonna really make sure that he laughs in our ear and keeps us going. And just want to reinforce the fact that the birthday is really about everybody else. Okay, us having fun.
I think that's true. Especially he has small children, so it really is. I mean, imagine,
Yes, I mean, yes.
You can't even imagine what that would be like to have small children and have your birthday. So happy birthday to Dave. Everybody in the chat, I would love it as you filter in. I would love it if you would say happy birthday to Dave Piper. All right, so here we go. We're going to talk about week 2, and we're going to start with a good Thursday night game. I think the Bills and Dolphins put some haters and doubters to rest maybe a little bit in week 1. And I kind of wanted to – one thing I didn't even really mention on the podcast, but I wanted to call attention to is, boy, I thought the protection for both of those offensive lines was extraordinarily good. I'm not sure how closely you watched it, but those offenses and those skill weapons are good enough when they don't get amazing blocking. I don't think the Dolphins' run blocking was all that good, but the pass protection was spectacular. Tua had lots of times where, we love it when he hits his back foot and throws, and the longer he waits, the worse we think the throw is going to get. But he had a lot of good plays where he waited because he had so much time. Josh Allen, he'll run, but it was a lot of good time, and James Cook had a lot of room to run. So which of those two teams are you more surprised by if those offensive lines are going to turn out to be pretty good?
It would probably be Miami. I thought there was more turnover or more question marks just between Armstead hasn't been healthy in a while. He looked good. The center looks good. Like, they basically have 3 solid offensive linemen that I think you can trust right now, which is more than they had last year, right? So, yeah, I that's one of my takeaways too. I was not surprised that you had said that, but I was surprised going in. That would be my take. That I thought, especially Miami, especially if you look at the box score, you think, oh, they struggled. But that's not, I think, why they struggled or to start the offense. It's just that it wasn't protection is my point.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, and I said, the run blocking, was it somewhat gimmicky last year? We're going to find out as the season goes along, because if the league is taking away that wide zone, and it's going to, Devon Achane had a nice game. And like most of it was via very, very short passes that are almost handoffs, but it's not that wide zone running attack. If that's off the table, that could be very problematic if you really liked Raheem Mostert. So Buffalo on a short week, also Miami on a short week too. They go down to Florida. It's a night game, so it shouldn't be like stiflingly hot. And maybe we're surprised a little bit that the Dolphins get some respect, given that they struggled with Jacksonville, but I guess Buffalo also struggled with Arizona. If I'm telling you the line is Dolphins by 2.5, what do you think?
This was tough for me. Obviously, it's a close game. I actually had this at a field goal for Miami. It's just so close. Just more of a one-man band kind of thing going on with Allen. I just think there's more ways, more paths to them. Like you said, like it will be interesting to see how does their preference to run, how does that play out, particularly now that we know Mostert's out, right? So what's this next level of their depth chart looks like? Like, we'll see the Jalen Wright speed potentially see on the field. Now watch Jeff Wilson get like 30 touches. But the main point is it's a highly concentrated offense. The thing that I really think about is Jordan Poyer's on the other side of the field now, and that's relevant because they used to be great at taking away the middle of the field, and that was what a great chess battle it was that Miami loves to live in the middle of the field. Just Tua loves to live in the middle of the field, and McDermott and his talent used to have the anecdote for that. Now they don't. They got picked apart. The only place that Arizona did well last week was the middle of the field. I felt like so. I don't know. I think that's where they beat them. I think that's a tough place for. If you can't cover the middle of the field, the deep middle, you're going to have problems against Miami.
I'm also on Miami here. I think it's a really fun game, good game. Those Thursdays sometimes aren't awesome, but they nailed this one. I should say that last week, our picks were very close to one another overall. I think you went 8-7-1, and I went 8-7 on our picks against the spread.
7,
and
8,
the
1,
only game I didn't,
the
only one I didn't pick was the one I thought they got the line right and it actually pushed. So I don't get a point for that, but I guess I don't get a point for that. But more importantly, the best bets, Jim nailed it 2-0. And I mean, one of mine was fine. Tennessee should clearly have covered against Chicago. One of my best bets last week was Carolina over New Orleans.
The fun thing is DraftKings had a bonus last week. If you went up 17, you win the game. So my friend bet Tennessee and did win. So that was cool.
Okay. So, well, I'm happy for that. And actually, it's a great little motion. Like when we get to DraftKings in a second, that's a great little thing to add because they do have a bunch of fun teasers and stuff that actually give you pretty good value. But yeah, I have a little migraine about the Panthers pick. Sorry about that, everybody. All right, let's go on to 49ers Vikings. And we're sitting here on a Wednesday night. We don't think Christian McCaffrey's going to play. We think it's probably going to be Jordan Mason, and that might not matter. I think maybe the Vikings are getting a little too much sauce and heat for taking down what I thought maybe was the worst team I saw in week one. So like everybody going, well, I don't know, Brian Flores' defense. I mean, I like Brian Flores, but I don't know that he has the horses to hang with San Francisco.
No, yeah. So it had a really mean diagram that was like just like the worst quarterback put together, but it was just Daniel Jones. It was bad. It was really not nice because it was with the uniform. It was like it just didn't look great. But no, they were just incredibly bad. Right. It's kind of interesting because it's the inverse of the time. Like a couple years ago, the Giants beat a Minnesota team that was so bad in the playoffs that it felt like it wasn't really that meaningful. I don't know. What I mean is that there's not much to take from that game. The Darnold. Look, week one in EPA and Darnold, they're like, I mean, if you want to look the upper right part of a chart in week one, Darnold's going to be there, right? He's also probably on the poster of like a haircuttery right now. But the problem is that I've seen this before from Darnold, so I'm not going to get tricked by this again. Also, the pass rush, everything's going to be different with the San Francisco team, particularly the way that they're going to, I think, actually be able to not take away, but like even have a better plan than last week for Justin Jefferson. So if Addison's hurt, I just think you're whittling down. So it's Aaron Jones versus the 49ers. So yeah, this again, I don't want to be so 49ered up, but I think the 49ers look like the 49ers last week for all the talk.
Well, and without Christian McCaffrey, doesn't that tell you something? It's not sustainable long term. Jordan Mason isn't the player that Christian McCaffrey is, and the difference is in the explosiveness. And in games where you need explosiveness, you're going to miss it. You're going to miss having Christian McCaffrey. Even if Jordan Mason is a very nice, solid, strong, good running back, if he's 20% worse, the 20% will show up in just not having the doors blown off and not having that much extra attention paid to him compared to receivers and all that stuff. So,
like they're rarely so healthy though too. Like skill player wise. So I just feel they're flush.
Right. Although the main guy, the best player in the NFL last year. Is
otherwise, I mean, yeah.
So this line is 9 or 6 on the road, which for me was. I pegged it at 6, so it's the only stay away game for me line wise. I wouldn't play it at 6 myself. How about you?
I had it a touchdown. I thought maybe some people would see some fool's gold a little bit with this Vikings team. I could be wrong. Flores they're going to blitz. They're going to do what they do. It could be fun. We'll see if that gets to Purdy, but I just think they have too many. Like what I'm saying is that McCaffrey, the thing that makes McCaffrey so amazing is that he was the engine throughout, so that whenever any of the other peripheral pieces are like not reliable, he could carry them through that. It seems like this is the counter now that like the whole team is. I don't know. I feel they're still so dangerous. So I also don't trust the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay, that's fair enough. Let me give DraftKings their props right here. Get that? DraftKings has sponsored this show for as long as this show has been around. We really appreciate them. It's if you're looking for a place to play the games, it's where Jim plays when he's in his abode and where Dave plays when he's in his abode. Now, when I'm in Massachusetts, I definitely play there, but in California, I can't. I wish I could. It's not like I play for a lot, but it is fun. And if you've never gotten a DraftKings account and you hear us say this is our best bet and it's not the Panthers, then maybe you would want to potentially download that DraftKings app. If you sign up using the code HarrisTube, all one word, make one $5 bet. They'll put $250 in bonus bets into your account right away, instantly. Plus, you'll get 1 month free of NFL Plus Premium, which is the service online on NFL.com that I use to watch film after the fact. So you'll be seeing what I see. It's the broadcasts of the games. You can go through them quickly. It's very, very useful tool in my line of work. So all you have to do, download that DraftKings app and sign up using the code HarrisTube. Make one $5 bet, get $250 in bonus bets, and you'll get a month free of NFL Plus Premium. And as Jim, as you said, especially this time of year, there are a lot of incentives and promotions and teasers and stuff like that that give you better odds that you might find in other sports.
Yeah, no, it's fun. They jazz it up. It just makes, and I get it on games that I probably wouldn't have. I guess that's the point, of course.
Yeah.
But it makes it fun, and they do make the odds such that it's inviting, and it usually helps.
Right.
So it helps, especially early season. They want to help you continue to get in there. So yeah.
Right. All right. So, and please don't bet the farm or anything like that. Small amounts, but have fun. It is fun. We thank you to DraftKings. All right. So we're going to go through a couple of games here that are maybe a little less sexy, but I mean, the Patriots won a game. How is that not sexy? But I'm refraining from hey, my hands are up here. That's all I'm saying. My hands are up here. The Patriots beat the Bengals somehow and ruined a lot of survivor pools. Not mine. I didn't fall for it this year. Nope. I didn't take the hook on the longest underdog. They are home against Seattle. What I wanted to ask is, I don't really think we learned all that much about Seattle, to be honest. I think Denver's offense Bo Nix was really bad. We'll talk about him in a little bit. The Patriots announced clearly, we knew through their personnel, we knew exactly that they want to be a running team and keep the game close. You said it last week, and we just doubted their ability to do it, and now we saw them do it. We also didn't see Cincinnati adjust very much. Like, they still played two safeties back. They still kind of just said, all right, man, that's not what the NFL is anymore. If you want to run, you can run a little bit, and eventually we think we're going to kill you. And they didn't. Is your understanding of Mike McDonald that that's his bag, that he'll sit back?
No, he's going to move up and take this away, I think, eventually. Okay. Yeah. And especially with some of the personnel he has, I think he'll be able to do that. Yeah, you're right. You didn't learn much about Seattle last year. I think I learned more about New England, just that there's a level of confidence that maybe there was some panic throughout the streets about the preseason performances and just like what was this offensive line. The fact that they were at least competent with, again, the opponent, the sample, they didn't adjust. But at the same time, they did it, right, against what was once a good Cincinnati pass rush. So my thing is, like, this is like the Geno-verse. Like, I mean, that's like I guess like the Spider-Verse, but I mean, like, the Jacoby and Geno, like, they're like the same thing, just different tiers of success. Like just like mid-career journeymen who they can help you sometimes, but they're also up and down. I would guess that Jacoby's a better manager, but my point is that we didn't see any of the fun stuff that was proposed to be happening with the Seattle offense. It felt very much like the old Seattle template. So I guess, like, did you see anything different with this? Like, it felt like Mike McDonald.
This was going to be this. Yeah, I think this.
Sure, quick. Yeah.
Let's just make a pick.
Sure, I got you.
Patriots are 3.5 point home underdogs.
Yeah, I am giving the points here. I had this bigger than that. I had this at 4.5 Seattle. So I just think the offense is going to put up points, and New England can't do that.
I can say it. I can say it. Break out the footy pajamas. Patriots plus 3.5. You're darn right. We'll go real quick through Giants Commanders because it's ugly. It's the movable force and the movable object. It is and the resistible object or whatever. Washington's defense didn't look very good last week. I don't know if I trust Daniel Jones to take advantage of it. If I told you that the Commanders at home against the Giants are a 1.5 favorite, who are you taking?
I'm taking the Commanders. It's hard to do. I just think they have some sort of recipe, whether it's this running balance that they can get going. I thought Robinson looked good when he did touch the ball. So, yeah, I'm just going to take the team that I think has some level of game plan, whereas I'm not sure what the game plan is other than, like, don't give Daniel Jones the ball, which is hard to avoid.
Right. I'm on the Commanders also. Hey, before we get to the rest of the games, everybody who's here right now, if you're watching this after the fact, does not apply to you, or it kind of does, but the people who are watching right now, we're going to try something. Everybody watching right now, we're going to try a like spike, which means everybody, when I say 3, 2, 1, hit the like button. All right? Because we're going to see that like maybe we mess with the algorithm and we get more known by the world. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, like. Hit the like. The like, did you do it? Did you hit the like? See, I see you. You don't think it applies to you. I see you. I'm watching you do this, not hitting the like button. Hit it quick. It's not too late. Okay, good. All right, everybody. I'm sure everybody did it. All right, we're going to move on. Let's do Chargers Panthers. The Panthers, the aforementioned jerks who made me look really stupid, and it happened fast. There's not much to say about the Panthers. Like, they didn't have a pass rush. They didn't move the ball on offense. Bryce Young looked so bad. The Chargers are going across the country. They're on the road. And Vegas is making them almost a touchdown favorite. And, Jim, I'm here to tell you I'm taking the Panthers again.
I'm giving the points here. I just like I like explosive running backs who run like a 5-1. J.K. Dobbins.
Let's unpack that. That's such a great line. What do you mean?
Just that he somehow breaks out 40-yard runs and he's the slowest guy in the field. And he's like a hit.
He just gets run down.
It's like a giddy up. It's like he's just learning to like jump rope. But it's incredible. At the same time, I just do believe again. Whether that, like we just talked about Washington quickly, Los Angeles, I think, knows who they are. They have an identity. Whether they're good at how good they're going to be in the long run at that, I think it can apply to bad teams. I think it presses against bad teams. And I think we saw that last week. I think it can apply again this week.
It's too many points, though. I mean, not to get all Vegas-y on you, but it's too many. I think it's too many points. 6.5.
Yeah.
The Chargers. What would the look?
Bryce Young thing.
What would the look-ahead line have been before Week 1 if we were talking about Week 2? It would have been even. Chargers probably a little better, but they might stink.
3.
Maybe Chargers 3. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
This is an overreaction, and I'm going down with the ship clearly. Oh my goodness.
I don't know the analogy, but the Bryce Young thing is just it's getting crazy out there. So
it's bad, and the Charger pass rush is scary, and so it does make it scary. But like, if I'm gonna play games and I'm gonna use what I've learned about handicapping in the past,
and overreaction theater, right? Yeah.
This is an overreaction line, and the Chargers should not be 6.5 road favorites against anybody. They shouldn't be a 6.5 road favorite against Notre Dame. Okay, yeah, they should, but not anybody in the pros. All right. The Saints are going to the Cowboys, and maybe the Saints are friskier than we think, or Panthers are a lot worse than I think. The takeaway from the early parts of that Saints game, when it was competitive for me, was that it was a little more aggressive, a little more downfield stuff. We know that Derek Carr kind of always has license to go to Rashid Shaheed deep anytime he wants. Like, he just sees it. If it's singled up, he just says go, right, and he'll throw it. But there was a lot of aggressive stuff down the field, including like a corner route to Taysom Hill that almost worked. On the one hand, I like to see it because last year was so discouraging in terms of like Derek Carr's utter cowardice. But on the other hand, it just strikes me that eventually it's going to bite him in the patootie.
Yeah, I'm not sure how sustainable it is. I've had exciting moments before. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know, just this random amazing meal, but it's like that food truck that guy doesn't work there anymore. Like, it's not going to happen. I don't believe the Derek Carr thing. At the same time, Dallas also was set up against this terrible team last week, so it's hard to read them. Like that Cleveland team seems. We can get into that as well.
I may have gotten some things wrong last week, but Dave certainly remembers what I said about his Browns offense. I'm sure.
That was
It turned.
historic. That really setting some precedents. But look, I don't trust the Saints. Is the point overall? I didn't trust them coming in last week. I didn't trust them. So, in a way, how you talked about you don't really trust the Panthers, or no, um, that you had that Panthers game off. Like maybe I had that Saints game off. Like meaning I think they are bad. Like I don't think they're good. I'm wrong
Okay.
about that being some lesson. So yes,
I think people will probably tell you that week 2 being the biggest overreaction theater week, dogs are kind of live a lot of time in week 2. Um, I'm on the dogs here. I'm on the Saints. I think 6.5 might be too much. And like, I think the Cowboys are a better team than the Saints, but I'm not sure I think they're great. And I think people maybe think they're great. And I think like the Saints probably will get less credit in the public's mind than the Cowboys will, because the Cowboys went on the road and they beat what we suppose still is a very good defense. We think, Dave hopes, and the Saints beat the Panthers at home, and we're laughing at the Panthers, right? So I think this line's too big. It's at 6.5. It sounds like you're gonna give it though.
I'm giving a touchdown, and that's what I had it at. So let's do it.
We didn't learn our 6.5 lesson with Buffalo last week, though.
No, I was all over that. That was great.
Yeah, it was not. Sometimes Vegas knows what they're doing when they're teasing us entirely. This time, I'm going to be on the smart side of that one. Colts Packers. As of our recording this, the Packers are like making goofy noises about Jordan Love potentially playing, but they've kind of already announced Malik Willis as the starter, so I think we're getting Malik Willis as the starter. What would you say if I were to tell you? This is going to be kind of a handicappy question here. What would you say if I told you that the look-ahead line, I looked this one up because I don't do much work, but I did a little bit here. The look-ahead line for the Packers coming off a long week because they had the extra 2 days of rest and playing at home, it was going to be Packers before Jordan Love got hurt. It was going to be Packers. What would you guess?
-3.5.
It was -5.
5. Oh yeah, it's okay. Yeah. That's a
huge
huge swing. Malik Willis.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Suddenly we go from Packers -5
8
to
points.
Colts -3.5 at Lambeau.
Wow. Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, I think so. What that's saying, I saw this blurb of one of these big handicap, one of these sharps is famous, Fezzik. He's been around forever, but he basically was saying like the way that moves it in sharp terms is like that's a bad third string quarterback line. Like it's a horrendous second quarterback, and so what does it make for a starter? What he means is like that's how much that the model pushed it. He had Malik Willis as a 5-point player, so maybe this is even more of an overreaction, like meaning. This is a kick past that. I think it's true. I think this might be that crippling. I think it could be that crippling to have Malik Willis behind there. I think this is the half point kills me. It kills me. They're so good at this.
Yeah, they're good at it. I don't know, man. The Colts defense didn't look very good. Mm-hmm. I guess it's different if you just don't fear the quarterback at all, and you're not afraid of the passing game, and you're willing to load up the box, but. Is that the NFL anymore? Are teams even the Colts are awfully light on defense, aren't they?
They're just a bunch of safeties. Yeah, it's like 12 safeties, and then they're always getting penalties. Yeah.
And for me, like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna run. Boy, I love the Packers here. Love the Packers at home plus 3.5.
We're gonna have different lines this week. Yeah, we're gonna have different results. I'm on the Colts.
You're on the Colts. All right.
Yeah.
The Browns-Jags is a game maybe I'm not going to spend a terribly long amount of time on with you. If I told you I didn't do the look-ahead. I only did work for one game. Sorry, chat. Sorry, I didn't. But I don't think anybody would have thought Jags -3. Deshaun Watson is that scary, I suppose. But I want to reemphasize that week 2, dogs are live. This is the week of dogs, and so it's Jags -3. What do you think?
It's also interesting that this is the overreaction, and it's a home. Like you're still a home. Now look, they also had their issues last week, Jacksonville. What I'm saying is the team that really changed their identity in public would have been the performance by Deshaun Watson. And what I'm saying is I don't even know if it's enough. I thought it might have been more because of how the public might react to Deshaun. But apparently there's also this defense thing, and this whole football game isn't just about him. At the same time, I think Jacksonville is actually a better, has also can play better than they did last week. I think there's stuff coming up from this front seven. I love saying that. I don't know why, but they're going to play well. I think Trevon Walker is actually starting to live up to his draft stock. So yeah.
All right. I'm Jags -3 as well. The Jets go to Tennessee. I believe one of my early season wagers was Jets on the under win total, because that win total seemed insane to me. And that win total has come down quite a bit after the Monday night performance. Tell me what you thought of Aaron Rodgers on Monday night.
Made a lot of cool faces, a lot of really cool up close faces. His eyes have different. He can change the size of them sometimes. It's interesting. It's like a Nick Cage kind of thing. No, he looked more like 2022 Aaron Rodgers, just great, good, but nothing. He didn't scare me that much.
Yeah.
He doesn't move as much as he did before. The shocker, he's not as the pocket movement isn't as incredible as it used to be. And yeah, he's what I expect at this point. He looks more like 2022. We forget that whole year happened, that weird walk year where he didn't have Devontae Adams, the weird Christian Watson year. That happened. That's what he looked like. He looked like that version of Aaron Rodgers.
A lot of throws that hit the ground before they got to receivers. And it's not like he doesn't have the arm strength anymore, but maybe the thing that goes at the end is less the power and more the precision with the power. Felt like there were plays to be made while that was still a game. I mean, the Jets got a lucky break early and then, didn't capitalize, and then, wasn't completely out of control in the first half, and they had chances. I didn't like it at all. And I don't know how in the world anybody fixes their mouth to make the Jets a more than a field goal favorite on the road. I'm tipping my hand here, but this is Jets -3.5 in Tennessee.
This is the first. Yeah, I'm taking the points here at home. Levis just made some plays you can't make. If you just I know that's easy to say, but I actually think there are things to clean up there. Obviously, they had this big lead, but they had that for a reason. I think the front plays really well against this Jets offensive line. And the other thing too is it's such a it's so concentrated, it's ridiculous. It's fantasy friendly, but I think it's way too predictable. It's just always going to be the same stuff. And Tennessee has a better defense than maybe last week's results showed. I mean, also there was this terrible pick six involved. That really wasn't all Tennessee's defense. So yeah, I'm taking the points here pretty comfortably actually.
A blocked punt and a pick six.
Yes.
Tennessee's defense may be better, or maybe Chicago's offense just isn't good, and this Jenga puzzle will all fit together eventually. But I don't know how you watch that game on Monday night and say, "Oh yeah,
under here, 29. What is it? What's the over under on this one?"
I mean, the thing is, Will Levis is almost always going to go over because he's either going to throw bombs to his team or pick six to the other team. What's your lasting memory? Where were you when the Buccaneers traveled to Detroit and played them suspiciously kind of close in a wild card game last year? Or I guess not, it was the divisional round. What's your lasting memory of that game?
That they didn't play the Eagles in the playoffs. I remember that. That didn't happen. No, I guess game never happened. It was that there was I guess I forget how, when I look back, how close that game really was. And especially late, how I thought that the game was over, mid-third, and then they just kept striking. So there was something to it. Yeah, Baker has played better than maybe even I want to admit or whatever. I have to change my perception with him in some sense. I think he's entered he's in the Cousins tier and a little bit above that. He's in that you could work with it tier, which is interesting.
I mean, I remember when Cousins was in that tier, but I've seen one game
that's
where
what I mean.
Not
the old Cousins tier. It's like the old Dalton line. It doesn't exist anymore.
My lasting memory from that game is I had no memory of that game. I really don't. I don't remember. That was during not even Super Wild Card weekend, right? That was the weekend after, because Tampa Bay had a bye obviously during the Wild Card week. That was an Eagles joke, Jim. You're allowed to groan.
That was great. That was I just wanted to laugh because I think of that as when Dallas embarrassed themselves. I changed. Oh. That was Dallas's embarrassing week. My embarrassing week was the week before. So let's just focus on timing.
All right, got it. I come away from the Sunday night game having, continued respect for the Lions offense. It's still going to be really good. It's based around good skill players and then a sick line. I mean, just great. And it continued to look great the other night. I don't know that they fixed the defense. I saw a lot of plays there. It kind of was like whoever had the ball last kind of won that game. It wasn't a hugely high scoring game, but I didn't feel like, did you feel like the Rams really struggled to move it?
No, and like take when you up like luck adjusted stuff between drops and penalties. Like there was some of like Stafford had some of the worst luck in terms of, for as many targets as he had. Cup left some yards on the field. What I mean is there was more to be had there that normally I think would be executed. Also, yeah, he was just reshuffling the deck, having lost, this 1,500-yard receiver in the first quarter. I still think it was impressive what they were able to do. And now with a whole week kind of reshuffling things, I just think the takeaway for me was that Stafford looked really good, and
all right. Well, we'll get to that game.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that game. I don't want to short shrift that game,
Yes.
but from the Lions' defensive perspective, that was what I was getting at. I didn't think they looked all that improved. We'll see. The line is 7, and I'm kind of willing to take these points. I think dogs are the way to play week 2.
I'm also taking these points. I think Tampa is just overall is just a better team than the numbers are suggesting.
Yeah, I think I have an under bet on them for the season though, win total. We'll see how that goes. We're not gonna do the Raiders and the Ravens. Sorry, Raiders and Ravens fans in the chat. But I will talk about the line, which is Ravens -9.
Yeah, I'm willing to give these points. I generally wouldn't give this many points, but I really think there's going to be some problems with Gardner Minshew meeting Roquan Smith like several times.
I'm also going to give these points. Baltimore -9 for me. You got to start talking about Stafford, so we heard your thoughts about him, and you also referred to Kyler Murray earlier. It seems like, I don't know, Kyler. I mean, first of all, obviously Marvin Harrison shouldn't have been a top 5 pick, right? It's a wasted pick. We know that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
like Jahmyr Gibbs, right?
He only ran 16 miles per hour. Okay, so there's this theory of Kyler post DeAndre Hopkins and post ACL that now he's afraid to go down the field, and it's one game, so I'm just not going to go there. I've seen Kyler Murray be an effective downfield thrower in the past. He didn't really do it against Buffalo, and I think it's going to be easier to do against the Rams. And honestly, if I'm handicapping this game, probably the thing I'm most interested in is the over. Yeah, I think that's where the Rams struggled too in the safety. You talked about where Buffalo struggled. The Rams really struggled at safety. That's where a lot of that's where Jameson Williams was just like eating. That's why he was like open the entire time. They were like turned around half the game. Yeah. I think there's more to happen. Like it's one of those games where I kept looking up and I had multiple games on, but I was like, well, Kyler Murray's making a play. I said it like, yeah, Kyler Murray. He's making a play. But then the box score didn't match up with like the number of, but also he was just like running for his life to a degree. I suppose it just looked like a very busy game compared to the box score, but at the same time, I'm taking these points. I just think the Rams look good. Like I said, I think there's more to be, and I also think there's some smoke and mirrors still with this Cardinals defense. Like they could still be bad.
Yeah, that is an open question. I think both these defenses could be bad. That's kind of why I'm thinking. I mean, the over/under is high, but like I'm kind of thinking over anyway. But I'm also going to take I think it's 1 point, right? I don't feel super strongly about it. I had it that it would be even. So the fact that it's Cardinals -1 doesn't like gall me or anything. But I will be on the Rams side +1. We're going to do the Chiefs Bengals, and we got a question from Ethan in the chat. A little while ago. I hope you're still here, Ethan. Did anything you saw on film increase or decrease your worry for Joe Burrow and his wrist? And I will start that because I was obviously on that game because my team was playing in it. It wasn't awesome, Jim, when they kept showing Joe Burrow on the sideline and he kept doing this and flexing and holding it and flexing. And when I was told all frickin' July that he was fine in August, I didn't see anything in the actual throwing that looked bad. He threw it to Jamar Chase 6 times and completed all 6 of them. I don't blame that game on Joe Burrow. The Bengals, first of all, you're relying on Mike Gesicki. What do you expect to have happen? He drops in the end zone, and then the next play, Tanner Hudson's like, "Hey guys," and he just reaches out at the goal line with the ball and like fumbles it away when he should have scored. Not Joe Burrow's fault. I come away not loving seeing him flexing down the sideline like that, but I didn't really see it in his play.
Yeah, I suppose I didn't see it in his play. I thought like a nod to like Christian Gonzalez. I think like some of the coverage was really good out there for New England. They also like they wanted you to beat them underneath, and like I think they were inviting you to beat them with like yards after the catch stuff. I don't think that they have that with the Bengals, or at least they didn't try to. So yeah, I really wasn't. I don't know. I kind of always expect a slow start from the Bengals. They're conditioning me, I guess, to
Yeah,
an
they really
extent.
are.
So they condition me to this, and I always like think of them as a warm up team. They just and I, I guess that'll change when it changes. I mean, like when Lee Evans stops being good in December, that's a really bad. That's so old. That's so old. That's so old.
Oh well, we're old, so it's what happens.
Yeah.
I don't think Bengals fans should like think this is the end or anything like that, or that Zach Taylor's terrible or whatever. I didn't think they adjusted well to the game situation, but I just think they kept seeing what I saw, which was like stupid bad luck. Essentially 3 turnovers. One of them was a turnover on downs on a 4th down, and then 2 ridiculous turnovers. And the Tanner Hudson, like if Tanner Hudson scores there, it's a totally different game. The Bengals were clearly on the move at the end, and they ran out of time. And Zach Taylor punting at the end wasn't very good either. But I'm going to say I don't put this one at the feet of Burrow. It would help if T. Higgins returned, and I kind of don't think he will, but we don't really know. It's Wednesday. Anyway, there's a lot of Bengals talk to get us ready for maybe, the game of the week, the AFC Championship game a couple times. It's Cincinnati going to Kansas City, and, the Chiefs are they're really, really good. They clearly covered because Isaiah Lakely, has a toe that's too long, but they played very well in that game. Chiefs are a 5-point favorite at home against Cincinnati. Where you lean on that?
Like I said, I'm just naturally fading this Bengals team. I just don't feel right about them yet. So I had this at 6. I'm going to give the points. That's a lot of points to give. My biggest question is like they went from the best safeties in the league to like 2 years later, maybe the worst between like Dax Hill. He's like guessing. They keep moving him around. Like that's a kind of a failed pick. I think they're going to pick him apart, like where they personnel wise can't recover. So yeah.
And they didn't really pick Baltimore apart, but you're just saying Baltimore's got.
Baltimore has like Kyle Hamilton, so like, that helps. Yeah, I mean they have like some world class players. It's just the scheme that Lou Almirono runs. Like you need safeties, and they were just like they're cheap. They just like no, we're gonna let Jesse Bates go. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jesse Bates has been gone, and
2 years, but then they replaced him with Dax Hill. This will be the second season. Last year was his first, right. But they tried Dax Hill as a first round pick. They've tried Von Bell came back. Like it's just they're trying and it's not working. So.
All right. Well, I said it at 4. There's not a lot of value in this game. Have fun watching it. Do some touchdown props on DraftKings, but yeah, maybe don't play the game. I said it at 4, so I'll be on the Bengals, but I don't feel strongly about it. I can't in good conscience spend that much time on Steelers against Bo Nix, except to say Bo Nix was so bad, dude. He was so bad. And like, it isn't just about Bryce Young type badness. Like, it was like, I don't know that he has the brain arm combination to be a quarterback. And
I like that. It's a new sentence.
Because he sees where he should go and he's like, I'm gonna do it, and then he goes, and it floats and wobbles and then the defensive back goes, okay, cool. Like I really don't know that I've seen anything like it from like a high first round draft choice.
I mean, he's a hit in Looney Tunes leagues, like for sure. Like he's just like.
So
his run was amazing. The spin move, he just completely exposed entire spine. Like that was so scary. That touchdown run.
And it was garbage time and it didn't count, right? I think it was yeah. All right. So we're not going to do any more talk on this game because it's a stupid game. Steelers going to Denver. They're 2.5-point favorites. I'm on Denver because this is the game the Steelers always blow.
They do, but TJ Watt, I just feel like somehow like you should just let him play receiver. So,
wrong. Yeah. Nope. Yeah. Incorrect. This is just I know it for a fact. This is the game the Steelers are always like, we got something cooking, a really unexpected road win. Here we go, and then they lose 30-4. They get somehow 4. That's right.
The only last thing in this game, and we're moving, is just Russell Wilson over under on screenshots of him on the sideline, which is going to be amazing.
73. Let's do Sunday night. Love the game. Don't know what to expect because I really circled this game to ask you about the Bears defense. It's the Bears going to Houston. And I've had a couple of football guys, come on the show and tell me how legit they think the Bears defense is. They think it's really, really good. like a factor, a reason to potentially not use Texans as fantasy weapons, that much of a fact, like one of the few defenses that you would ever really say that about in the modern NFL. And you're watching all these guys, you're an IDP guy. How do you feel having seen them 1 week, and do you feel that way about them?
I don't. I think they're really they've a lot of splash players, like meaning they can make big plays. But I also think they can give big plays up. I mean, last year, like they gave up a ton of rushing yards. Like, so I still think they're gonna have issues.
But the retort that they would give is not when Montez Sweat got there.
Right. Okay, yeah, and he is amazing. He's so long. He's a condor. He changes things. He sets the edge. I get that. So, yeah, like maybe I haven't seen the splits, but the main point is that I still don't think secondary wise that like they're just like this shut down, take you out of the game kind of team. They're scary. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, like I still think I need more sample. I need to see more. It's still young.
You answered the question.
It's like a hot team. So yeah,
I trust your judgment about defenses above just about anybody else, and probably confirmation bias. Like I agree with you, so I'm like Jim's got it down.
Yeah.
He's locked it down. If they shut down Houston, I'm going to be really, really impressed.
Sure.
This is Houston is legit. Did you see how much room to run Joe Mixon had?
Yeah. I mean, last year, if you remember, right around this time of year, I know it was early. It was like maybe a couple weeks after this, but like Pittsburgh went down to Houston, and it was an odd line.
Swacked.
And Houston just went nuts, and then we were like, wait, is Pittsburgh a good defense? But then Pittsburgh continued to like still have really effective big splash play games against a lot of the teams.
Point.
And like you said, they're volatile. Pittsburgh has their games, but like that was like a stamp game to me. Like that was like, wait, we misread this team. That'll be interesting to see how this is a great test, because Houston's now at that point where they're kind of a test team for you.
They looked like a monster. They looked like a monster in that game. And, take away a couple of pretty, good plays, those bombs to Alec Pierce, but like otherwise that's a rout. So that line is Texans -6. What do you think?
I'm giving a touchdown. I just think the rookie looked like a rookie last week. And like, I understand, I just talked about how good Stroud looked, but he didn't look like that last year. And just kind of running around crazy.
Me too. Houston -6. I like what I saw from the Texans. All right, one more 6.5 point line, and so another Vegas putting its fingers in our nostrils and dragging us along, saying, "Oh well, they're going to win by a touchdown." Sure. The Eagles at home against the Falcons, who did not look very good last week. I can't believe I'm going to do it, but I'm going to take the Vegas bait on this one. Eagles -6.5.
This is tough. I mean, we talked about what did you see with Barrow being able to drive the ball? Did it show up? Like it showed up for me with Cousins, like meaning just his inability to like plant. Like I'm not a QB quarterback. I just think you need your feet. It's crazy theory. It's like if you're trying to hit a home run, it would be crazy to have your back foot up, so that's kind of how we're feeling with Cousins, as somebody who is way too heavily invested in Drake London for some reason.
You really are. You kept mentioning him on the show.
I don't know why. It just happened. Great name. Sounds like a superhero. It's just, we'll see how that works out, but he couldn't drive the ball. And look, the Eagles pass rush, I think, actually created pressure last week, but Love could get off his spot. This guy can't get off his spot. I think that's going to be a problem. It is a lot of points. This is much more of a Cousins thing to me. I just don't think they can keep up. Philly, I think, is always going to score points the way that like the skill players are set up. You have to score points with them. I know it's a football thing, but you have to get into the 20s to keep up with them. I don't think they will.
I'll just end on this thought. I thought Jalen Hurts played bad. How about you?
Yeah. You really had to set things up well for him. It was all motion. Like everything with motion was great. Everything, a clean pocket was bad for him. Whenever he has too much time, he does the worst thing. Not great. No.
He locks in on the first guy. You always know who the first guy is based on where he's looking, and then if that first guy doesn't get open, boy, I just feel like he starts taking off, but he doesn't really take off to run. He
drifts
meanders.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so what used to be more, and people have talked about this, a Philadelphia thing that's going on, like an internal a base kind of conversation has been the burst. He's still a power runner, but it's like, he's not like beating guys to spots as much as he used to be. And you saw that last week where he was like, he won this big battle, but he used to be at the corner. So there's just questions like, McNabb did this before too? Like how many protein shakes have you had? Like, stop it.
Well, how do the Philly guys say the burst though?
Yeah, you burst. Yeah, you bursting. Yeah, Kyler Murray.
We know Kyler Murray's bursting, and you're bursting too. This was fun. This is good. Do you have a best bet or two?
I do. One of my best bets is, I'm giving a lot of points there, but one of my best bets is the Houston Texans. I just think that Caleb Williams, I know it's a lot of points, but I think Caleb Williams is really just in a bad spot this week. The other one is San Francisco. I know it's, again, a lot of points. I just think they clear them. I think they're kind of they're a router, that kind of team, that Niners team.
They're a router. We need to find like computer equipment that corresponds to each team. They're a router, and the Patriots are like a Commodore 64.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
My two best are going to be Packers. I don't know how Malik Willis' 8.5 point difference in a point spread, and Titans. I don't know how the Jets are favored on the road. So yeah, the Titans treated me great last week. Let's go right back to them. But you know what? You folks who are in the chat right now, who we love, you tell us down in the comments who your favorite bet of the week is, and anybody watching this video after the fact, which is a lot more people. We appreciate you too. Let us know down in the comments, and I think maybe I forgot to ask who got one right last week, but we'll remedy that in the future, and we'll call out somebody who posts a correct pick down in the chat in next week's show. The most important thing you can possibly do in the chat right this very moment and down in the comments is to say happy birthday to Dave Piper, because it's his 82nd birthday and we love him. Keep at it, Gramps.
Papa Piper.
That's going to do it. Thank you to DraftKings so much for continuing to sponsor us. Use that code HarrisTube if you download the app. We would appreciate that. And that's going to do it. Thank you so much for watching. For happy birthday, Dave, for Jim, for me, thank you so much. We'll see you next time.